Hello everyone, today I will show you how useful Excel functions, especially if you're a teacher, just like me. I'm a teacher, I work in China and I often have tables to fill with student scores, and I want to show you how we can automatize writing grades or doing some kind of statistics to calculate how many different scores are there in the table. So as you can see, we have information what to do based on the score. Um, you have different grade and different color of the cell. So this is our instruction. So the exercise is already done, but I'm going to clear it so we can do it together one more time. So for changing colors of the cells, we use conditional formatting. So I'm gonna clear all the rules. Okay, I cleared all the rules. As you can see, grays have the same color now. We will later follow this instruction to do it. Then we have information how many different scores are there. It's very important for statistics for teachers. If you're a teacher, I think you will find it very useful. So this one we're also going to clear it out. Okay, it's empty. Every cell is empty. Then we also have this great different message displays dependently on the score. If score is high, you write excellent. If it's poor, you write failed, and others. So writing it manually can also take a lot of time. Okay, so everything is clear. We can start. We'll start first with highlighting cells with a different color. So for this, we select the range. We go to conditional formatting, and we create new rule. We choose format only cells that contain, and in this field first we'll focus on students who failed, so we'll select scores which are red. So for that we choose less than, not between, but less than 60, of course, because students who failed are those who have less than 60. We click fill, choose red color, and now we are ready. We can choose okay. It selected all fields which have below 60. However, also blank cells were highlighted. We need to fix it. So for this, we also create a new rule, highlight the range. Remember, highlight the range from D4 to D15 here. It can be different in U. Again, we create new rule, format only cells that contain, and then we choose here equal to blank. But how can we write is equal to blank? For blank, we cannot just write like this, empty. Okay, I can write like this and then choose gray color. So you can see nothing changed. So for this is an exception that if you want to fill the blanks, you also need to write the number of the first cell in your range. So I'm gonna highlight the range. Then I go to new rule. And here I just modify the rule. Okay, I'll show you how we can modify the rule. Not we can check manage rules. We already have this rule, but this rule doesn't work. So double click. So here, not like this, but we're gonna write B4 equals B4 one more time equals, and then quotation mark with a space empty. There's a space between. That should work. Yep, this rule works. So now we have blanks highlighted as gray. We choose another color between. Now will be the range will be between beige or yellow. Let's make it yellow. 70 to 70. Yellow will be 60 to 69. So now let's choose the range 60 to 69. Highlight it, conditional formatting, new rule, format the cells. Now we will choose between. And if it's easy that we don't have to write an equal sign or show the cells, we just write 60 and 69, and we choose format, what color we want. Okay, we choose yellow. We have only one between 60 and 69. We choose another one which will be between 70 to 79. New rule 70 to 79. Choose format beige. Okay, maybe this is beige. I'm not sure. My color recognition is not that great. Okay, select a 70 to 75, 70. It works. Now we're choosing between 80 to 86, 80, 89, which will be right green. new rule, between 80 to 89, that will be light green, something like that. Okay, light green. And excellent student is only one, will be dark green. So the best excellent score will be dark green. We create the last rule, which is between, not now will be not between, will be greater than, maybe greater than or equal to 90, greater than or equal to 90. So everything bigger than 90 but including 90. And now we choose dark green. Yes, it changed the color. Okay, so this one we have achieved. Now let's count using this function, count if, count ifs, count the blanks. We will do a little bit of statistics here. So first let's count how many students failed. This is very useful. We can count how many students failed in this group. Maybe now it is easy to do it, but just by looking at the table. But what if you have 100 students? So for example, this is my real table. You can see I have 75 students here, or you can even have more. So I believe it will be much faster for you. So let's count. So for this we use count if. We will use this function. So let's type equals. This is already formula. Count if, and then we need to write range. Right, we range. So from D4 to D15, D4 colon, that's how we show right range, colon, D4, D15, comma, and we write our criteria. Criteria is that it has to be less than 60. So let's see if it's gonna work. There's a problem with this formula. Okay, so when we write, we also need to put the criteria in quotation marks. So let's write it in quotation marks. Okay, it counted the 2 students failed, and we can see it also with color. 2 students failed. So we got, it's only one condition. That's why we got count if. But for this case, we will use count ifs, because to calculate range is between, we need to use 2 criteria. So let's write equals count ifs. Then we write criteria 1, which is now first we write range 1, first range, which is D4, D15, comma, now we write in quotation marks our first criteria, which is greater or equal 60. So it's gonna be like this, equal, greater, or maybe first will be like this, equal, greater, equals 60, comma, criteria to D4, D15, this is our range, and another condition, it has to be less than 70, so we write it like this. And close it with quotation marks, and then close the bracket. Not trying to apply for when the first character is equal or minus sign the formula. Okay, so there's a problem here in this formula. Maybe first is equal sign, later is greater. Alright, let's remove this and see how it's gonna work. Still doesn't work. And so if you have a problem with the formula, let's check how do we write this. Yeah, we write range and comma. So one more time, equals count ifs, open the bracket, criteria range D4, D15, comma, greater than 60, This has to be in brackets, greater than 60. Another range, the same range has to be repeated, d4, d15, comma, and criteria, which is in smaller than or less than 70. It calculated only one, right? But the problem is, okay, it calculated. So what if we change 67 to 60? Now it's 0 because 60 is not included, but 60 should be included, right? So what we're gonna do, we will change, it has to be not only greater, but greater or equal. So let's try with this equals. You need to remember if you're doing greater or equal, you have to remember the position of this equals, whether it goes before or after. Let's try after. Oh, probably now is okay. So now let's write 60. It doesn't change. So now this formula is correct. Greater or equal 60. Then the same we will do for this. So for that we can just copy this formula. But here we change to 70, 79, actually 80. 3, and this one also should be changed. This one is okay, 70. Okay, so we have 370 to 79, which is highlighted beige. Then we have the same with changing to 80 and 90. We have also 3 students highlighted light green, 88, 89, 86. And for this, we don't need to do double. You can also count if. For this, you can also use count if you do, because one formula would be enough, not count ifs. So you just write our range d4, d15, and our condition is greater or equals 90. Not count if. Count if. Yes, it's only one. It's only one, which is 92. Okay. And also you can check total unchecked. So we'll count this blank, which are gray here. So you will use count blanks. So we write count equals count blanks d4, sorry, d4, d15. Yeah, we have a problem. To write count blanks. It's not count blanks, count blank. And then you write range d4, d15. Yeah, because I wrote it, so yes, I accepted. Yeah, we have 2 blanks. So for count blank, we just write the range, and this data is filled. The last what I want to do, I want to display a correct message. So we will just type formula here based on this, which I already have here. We will use ifs. This formula ifs, we write cell and condition, then we write in quotation marks the text which we want it to be displayed. Okay, now we can just drag everything until here. As you can see, it filled it with different grades. So if you have only one the condition, so let's just write boy here, right? Boy in this cell, and based on this we'll practice if. I'll show you how it works, because this one maybe it's a long message, so it's I will show you a short message how to use ifs and how to use if. So in here we will display message, write if, logical text is if J10 is boy, maybe like this, if J10 equals boy, write true. Okay, yes, so that's how it works. So we check in logical condition. You see, if J10, if this one equals boy, then comma, this is our value if true. We can optionally also write value, another value, what if it's false. So let's see how it works. So let's change it to girl. Let's write here a girl. Now it's writing false. So let's go back to boy. It writes true. Okay, so what will happen if you write another condition? Here we can write comma. You will write another message. Must be. We don't know for sure. Must be a girl. If it's false. Okay, so now it's right true because it's still a boy. But what if we change it to girl? It writes must be a girl. So that's the way it works, this if condition. Dependently on the text, it evaluates what is the value of the cell, if it's true or false, and display different messages. So we use if for singular condition, but here we have many messages to display, not only one message to display. So because of that, we need to use ifs. And as you can see, that's the way it works. So you start with the blank, then you move from the smallest to the largest, from 60 to 100, not from 100 to 60. It has to be in this order. You know, this is very useful, especially this counting, how many different grades you have, what's the score. For statistics, when you write reports as a teacher at the end of the semester after exam, you often need to write reports, how many students have this grade and so on. For example, now I just finished marking my exam, so I have a test results, and let's see how many students failed. So how many students are below 60. So we will use this formula count if, and we have to write the range from G2 to G76, right? And now we write criteria, and our criteria will be less than 60. So I can see that there are 13 students who failed, who are below 60. So that's why I say it's very useful for teachers. It would take me a lot of time to look through this text and find count manually how many did it. So I hope you find this exercise useful and you can improve your work as a teacher. Thank you very much.